Here, can you all hear me? Check, 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 check. Hey, Harry, about damn time you're on time, dude. Twice. It is twice, Harry. That's true. Just take my hat off. Freaking pulverizer. I thought you'd be in Israel by now, pulverizer. I thought you'd be in Israel. You know, given that make Israel great again. That's what we want to do. We want to make Israel great again. Freaking pulverizer. Yeah, Israel controls the United States. It's so stupid. He's late. I'm right here, Marie. What the hell are you talking about? Freaking Marie's just get off that bike. Yeah. Just remember, Simpsons predicted economic disaster post-Trump and female POTUS doom. Wasn't the female POTUS, what's her name, Lisa? It's actually funny going through some of my mom's stuff, reading because she's a big commie, and she had very active in the communist far left circles of Maine back in the 70s, and it's just I'll see if I can't share this. Let's see if I can share it. Actually, hold on a second, amigos. It's kind of cracking me up. Right there, blink. Yeah, right here. We're gonna share. We're gonna open these guys up, and let's see if I can't share this. I have to refresh to get the. Yeah, Lisa. Yeah, that's what it says. I said Lisa Simpson. Boy, I'm the only one who's got a brain around here, apparently. Let's go to. I want that. Slides and PDFs. So I want that. What do I want here? There's a camera. Image file. Is that what I want? Yeah, here we go. I think that's what I want. Let's see. Can you all? Yeah, you can see that. All right, sweet. So you probably aren't going to be able to read it very well, but basically what it says, hang tight. There, hold on a second. There it is. Hard Times Conference in Chicago in 1975. All right, so they're advertising this conference in some commie rag my mom got in Maine. The conference was put together by a national board consisting of representatives from a broad spectrum of peoples, community, labor, and political groups. The platform around which this conference is organized is in follows: jobs and income for all, and a living wage, without discrimination in hiring, with free childcare on demand and equal pay for equal work. Stop picking our pockets, roll back and freeze prices, put moratorium on debts for the unemployed. Stop the cutbacks of social services. Respect our right to good health care, daycare in schools, clean neighborhoods, and adequate welfare. Literally right out of freaking, what's his name? Mondami's, playbook. Okay. All right. What happened? There we go. Right out of Mondami, man. I just thought that was pretty funny. So am I still here? What the hell, man? How do I get out? Okay. That kind of cracked me up. Right out of the Mondami playbook. I was just laughing. Here we go. Hey, Jason's on Facebook. Right on. All right, good. All right. And then I'll share this other one with it, which is even funnier. We'll get Blink removed from studio. And then we're going to see if I can my image file. I think I got to do like that. Yeah, I think I got it right there. Yeah, check this out. You'll get a kick out of this. So this is a Democrat representative from Maine. This is I think he got elected in 1973. This is, I think, in 1972. All right. Let's see. He's a Democratic House representative from Portland, Maine. And let's see. We ran as Democrats on a platform calling for a $3 minimum wage, a guaranteed minimum income, free and improved health care, equal taxation, and free daycare. It was in general a platform that spoke to the needs and problems of the low and middle income people and workers. I just find that funny. That's literally right out of the current Democratic playbook. It's literally just my mom's stuff was, running on back then. In fact, if I can find it, I'll show you what my dad ran for city council in Portland, Maine. And if I can't see if I can't find that. Let me delete my. Let's see here. Hold on just a second. I can show you what his platform was. It's funny as hell. I probably won't be able to find it while we're doing this. Anyway, I just kind of Yeah, right here. All right, I'll forward them. Hold on just a second, everybody. Hold on. Hold your horses. Hold your horses. All right, so we're going to show you what my dad's platform was. And my dad's dead, R.I.P. And I love my dad. I mean, we didn't have a relationship for the last 20 years of his life, but he's still my dad. You know what I'm saying? And as such, I got no animosity towards him, none whatsoever. You choose the battles you can fight, and you fight the battles you can win, and you avoid the ones you can't. I'm very okay with that. So, anyway, let's go back. Hold on just a second, and boink. I'll show you what my dad's campaign was. It's funny as hell. You'll get a chuckle. Even Pulverize will chuckle. Pulverize is not known to be a chuckler. Pulverize like, I don't like to laugh. No, it's not my Prison Orange. It's Philadelphia Flyers, Marie. I'm coming out of the closet. Flyers. Right there, baby. First round at least. I tell you, the Bees are playing the Sabres. And I'm happy. I'm going for the Sabres. Can't lie, dude. Kind of going for the Sabres. They haven't been in the playoffs for 15 years. They haven't worn their old school uniforms for probably 30 since the 90s or something like that in the playoffs. So, I mean, I'm just, so whoever wins, I'll be happy for. So whoever wins that series, I'll go for. But it would be kind of cool to see the Sabres advance because they haven't done anything for so long. All right, so check this out. This is my dad's campaign slogan here. You can't really see it that well, but I'll just read it to you. Kind of funny. Vote Scanlon, City Council, December 7th. Stop all project demolition until enough new housing is built to care for those affected. Build enough public housing to care for the city's poor. Start a strong rent control program to put a stop to rent profiteering. Insist that model cities begin good job training programs. Give preference to local companies on all public contracts. Support the efforts of low-income people, the tenants union, and other citizen groups in confronting the city. Greg Scanlon is on your side. Help elect him to city council. I mean, it's just all these guys are just dumb. Can you imagine being so idealistic that you can actually? It's so freaking stupid. I'm embarrassed. Literally, I mean, they're dumb and idealistic, but my dad's probably, if he's still alive, hey, we got Johnny from Lower Michigan. I do want a Hawkeye, dude. I want a Hawkeye yellow. Yes, I do. And this one is, I don't like, it's kind of like 80% cotton, 20% polyester. Just the 100% cotton, I don't like them so much, but whatever. I want a Iowa Hawkeye tee. Yes, I do, Harry. And if you can get it kind of like in the, a little bit polyester, that'd be great. But yes. Hey, Arvin. Hey, my son's getting ready to play tennis with a guy named Arvin. Oh, it's Arkvin. Never mind. Saying leaving like a cat now retired. Leaving like a cat now. I don't get it, man. Johnny C, Lower Michigan. Look at Johnny C. He's got that fake astronaut look. He's like, I'm going to the moon. I'm going 25,000 miles an hour. But yes, I want that Iowa Hawkeye thing, something wicked, dude. I don't want black. I want yellow. Absolutely. Dude, Iowa Hawkeye's my new team. I might have to move to Iowa. I miss 100%. I miss 100% cotton. I don't get it. Wait, huh? Why would you miss him? Looks like Bruce. Yeah, he does look like Bruce Willis. Yep, 100%. Going to the moon. He's on early release, Penelope, says Marie. That's so funny, Penelope. So funny I forgot to laugh. Why am I the butt of everybody's jokes? What did I ever do? I didn't do anything to you, Penelope. Sorry, I'm late. Oh, too late, dude. You're banned. Banned for life. So anyway, there's something else I wanted to. Size. Yeah, large would be great, Harry. Oh, my goodness. Look at that kitty cat. Hey, you can change your thing. Who's that, Harry, in your avatar thing? Wait, was the grandbaby born? Was this supposed to be today, Harry? The grandbaby? Oh, dude. I want to hear what Harry, because Harry's supposed to have another grandkid here. Like this, I could have sworn he said today on our live stream on Wednesday. Who else would we pick on? Pulverizer. That's who you pick on. Ted's not here to pick on for some reason. So if Ted's not here, we got to pick on Polarizer. Orange is a new black. I never understood that. Rocky soon. Rocky. Oh, that's right. Okay, gotcha. When's soon? Like this week, though, isn't it? Let's say prayers for Heavenly Father. We just pray for Harry's granddaughter or grandchild to be healthy, to come out and just engage this world and be ready to crush and to wave the flag of Jesus's death and Jesus's resurrection, to be a beacon of light for all that come across him. We just pray for the grandchild. We pray for the mom. We just pray for Harry and his better half, dear Lord, because being a granddad is God's way of rewarding us for a life well lived. And we pray in Jesus' name, amen. Penelope, you got kids? I can't remember if Penelope's got. I know Penelope's married, but I can't remember if she's got kids or grandkids or not. I lived. That's right. Are we gonna have a good Monday on the market? What do you think? Or some roller coaster? Yeah. Idiots are, dude. Oh, that's what I was gonna say. There's some little. Oh my goodness. There's some really dumbasses out there saying, someone's nope, no kids. All right, right on, Penelope. All right. Saying that somebody is profiting on oil, shorting oil. They made $760 million of oil shorts right before the Gulf was open or closed. Who the hell knows? You know what I'm saying? And did you see the hyped likes? I use all the hyped likes. And hey, right on. Man, I don't even know, dude. I don't know how that works. I see the hype thing on other videos I watch. I'm not even sure how that works, but I appreciate it. You know, the more you hype me, the more it gets out there. So much obliged. Anyway, so I was like, and so all these guys, like, I'm just like, these are educated people, or at least law people with law degrees. And I just remember that these people are just not very bright. That's why you go to law school, because you're just not a very bright person. Anyway, so I'm just like sitting there thinking, so someone shorted oil with $760 million of contracts right before the thing opened or closed, whatever the hell it was. That's why I'm such an expert on Charlie. That's right. And I was sitting there thinking, do people not know how much money exchanges hands every day in the in the futures market, the contract market, the options market of oil? I just literally, there are hundreds of thousands, if not a billion or million, not billion, billions of option contracts that get traded every single day. Hundreds, if not of thousands, not millions. $60 million options contract is the equivalent of, I think it was like 9,000 options. There's just option contracts being traded all the time. Up and down and sideways, back and forth. 9,000 option contracts that just happened to coincide with when the markets fell. It's just, especially on top of the market's already been falling. I'm just sitting there watching these anti-American idiots on X and YouTube. I'm like, this is insane, man. It's insane. I'm like, what is wrong with these people? It's crazy to me. And I find myself like just like getting, falling. I'm like, dude, are you? It's just nuts. I don't get it. It's kind of like there's this meme. It's actually pretty funny. It's like they'll show the media's reporting on, someone looking like he's stabbing somebody or something. I can't remember what it is. So you just see like, it looks like a guy with a knife and someone basically getting stabbed or something like that. But then you pull out and the guy with a knife is actually the back of his foot running away from an assailant. And so the media reports the guy with the knife, it looks like a guy with a knife stabbing somebody, but actually when you pull out, you'll see the thing where what you thought was the guy with a knife is just the back of his foot running away from assailants. Crazy. I'm in the black again. Yeah, right on. Yeah, what I'm saying. So Marie's saying she likes black guys. Okay, Marie, we didn't need to know that. People think they know more than anybody else. Yeah, and the thing is, it's like, dude, this whole thing is like, it's this need to have this like running tally of, I think it's no different than stock traders, to be honest with you. There's always got to be something to report on to either stay relevant, to look like you're smart. I don't understand it. I'm just like, no one knows anything, man. It's okay. Just, I don't know. I'm ignorant. We'll see how it shakes out. All I know is what's the oil trading at right now? Let's take a gander. I think it was like 85 or something like that. Yeah, so WTI is down to 83. I mean, Brent's at 90. It's just significant drops. And gasoline is at 3. It's weird to me, man. I don't understand. I don't understand. It's like this need to be right. And I just, I get it. Look, I don't want to be wrong either, but if you're using this like a running tally of the day-to-day stuff, you're going to be wrong sometimes. That's weird to me, but anyway, whatever. I never traded option contracts. I short sold individual equities. Should just buy and hold 100%, man. Completely agree. Buy and hold without question. Just the only way to go. Now, some scumbags make tons of money on shorting. Yeah, but there's someone on the other side of the trade. It's a zero-sum game, where the nice thing about being long, it's not a zero-sum game. I can make money. Pulverizer can make money. Marie with her black boyfriend can make money. Even Penelope can make money. You know what I'm saying? We can all make money if we're long. But if you're in a zero-sum game, short is gambling some of the way. Oil moves on Trump's tweet with no attempt to what is happening. I'm not sure if it does on Trump's tweets. I mean, I get some of that. I kind of get that. But I think it moves more than just what Trump says, frankly. Who knows? Look, I'm all for this thing. I think we're crushing. I love seeing my man picking up, actually, let's see if I can't find it. Pushing up daisies. I had AI come up with this awesome thing I did, which I'll share with you here. Hey, Miguel! Look at Miguel. All right, now we all got to start speaking Spanish so Miguel can understand what we're saying. Let me see if I can't find this. Now, Pulverizer probably won't like it, but everyone else will. Yeah, there it is. I had AI design this. This is fantastic. Just got emailed to myself. All right there. Man, dude, I got some serious gas, dude. I don't know what the hell I ate. Am I still okay to dollar cost average into VOO while still ripping? Yeah, absolutely, dude. 100%. Dollar cost averaging never broke anyone. It didn't. Unequivocally, my man. If you're who I think you are, I'll say the same thing later if you know what I'm talking about. Learn Mandarin, Miguel. Like my wife's parents. Oh man, I can't. It's not showing up. Dude, I'm on friggin' the Pope sucks donkey balls. I can't stand the Pope. Have you seen his? I mean, he's a liberal, dude. Look, trust me. My mom. We have lots of liberation Catholics in my family from afar. My granddad's brother, Sister Regina, and two of his brothers, Father Eric, and I forgot the other guy, went to Brazil preaching liberation theology. And they actually did expand the church, no two ways around that. But Marxist liberation theology, and I hate that crap. Catholicism shouldn't be doing that. In fact, I just got done reading a book, and there's part 2 of this book on the Spanish Civil War and what the Republicans were doing to Catholic nuns and priests and stuff in Spain. And so, I mean, the idea that the Pope is ignorant of what's going on to Christians throughout the world, and yet somehow is focusing on Trump's tweets, is embarrassing, dude. And I'm Catholic. Now, Jill might argue, because I have issues, I don't want to get too deep in this, about some of the theology that they have. I still subscribe to being the Catholic faith. You can say I'm a heretic, whatever it's called, because I don't subscribe to some of the principles of the Catholic faith, 100%. But I'm still call myself a Catholic. And so that's whatever, man. But the Pope's a clown. There's no tweet. This whole idea the Pope is infallible, I never understood that. It's like, why would anyone think the Pope is infallible? It doesn't make any sense to me at all. Especially when he was tweeting all his crap before he became the Pope. It's just straight out of the Democratic playbook, dude. So the guy can go pound sand. Joe Rogan was at the White House. Oh God, not Joe Rogan. For the love of God, I can't. That guy's such a clown. When was this? Not Joe. Joe Rogan's such obviously bought and paid for. Can we not freaking Joe Rogan? I never understood the freaking Joe Rogan phase. I was like, dude, that guy is such a putz. I don't get it. But he's got a big audience. Yeah, but it's embarrassing. That guy's embarrassing. All right, so I'm going to share with you this. If I can open it. Yeah. Oh, this is great. This is my. It was like, well, but what's going on in Iran? You know, blah, blah, blah. I said, you know what's going on in Iran? It's going to be this right here. Worst case scenario. If this is the worst case scenario, it's still a win. Look at that. I designed this. Well, I had AI. Pope pushing up daisies. I'm not the Pope. The Ayatollah. Now, they couldn't do it specifically to the Ayatollah Khomeini because they said that's whatever. But they gave me you all can see that. And I couldn't show them pushing up daisies being on the ground. So I had them bench pressing daisies and saying push up daisies. I'm not sure AI understands what the meaning of pushing up daisies is. So that's freaking classic. That right there is awesome. See you later there, Ayatollah. So worst case scenario is that Ayatollah freaking is pushing up daisies. I'm okay with that. Yeah. Trump is bought. Yeah, see, I don't think who bought who. I mean, who? Well, in that regard, I kind of agree. What's her name? Miriam. Yeah, I'll take that back. Absolutely bought, paid for. With Miriam Adelson, whatever hell names. I don't disagree with that. Big Pharma. I don't disagree with that at all. 100%. I think you're right. Whoever kiss, I mean, look, Trump loves to have his butt kissed. There's no two ways around that. You kiss Trump's butt, you'll be on his good graces. You don't kiss Trump's butt, you're not going to be on his good. I hate that crap. Hate it. You know what I'm saying? And just the butt kissing, the yes men stuff, it drives you up the wall. The biggest vaccine salesman in the history of mankind was Trump. You know what I'm saying? And but guess who alerted him or made him scared crap was over freaking the pandemic? It was one Tucker J. Carlson, or whatever his middle name is. Apparently, he went in the White House to make Trump scared crapless out of COVID. It's funny reading all these guys, these libertarians, their tweets and posts right around late February, early March. Dave Smith, Tom Woods, Tucker, all these clowns. I don't know about Candace. I just never got into her. I don't get it. I like the one thing she did about Erica Kirk. The first episode she did, I thought it was somewhat interesting, but it wasn't. I was like, I never trusted Erica Kirk. The whole thing with Erica Kirk, that whole thing is just weird to me. I'm like, my wife gets mad. And it's like, I don't like it. The whole thing is just odd. There's some, I don't really care that much, but there's something going on with that. And I don't need to go down that thing. But anyway, what else? Oh yeah. So Trump had a meeting with Tucker and Tucker was, scaring him crapless of the COVID. Joe Rogan met with Osterholm. I was taking a walk and once in a while listen to Joe Rogan. And I don't anymore because I'm not gay. But I was like, dude, because obviously Joe is just like Flamin' Fuentes. I bet Joe and Flamin' Fuentes hook up behind the freaking dumpster. That's what Owen Benjamin says. Owen Benjamin got mad at me the other day because he called me a queer because I said that, Owen, for a guy who is very comedic, why are you so upset about Trump's tweets? I don't understand it, dude. Trump's tweets, like now people on the right are mad about Trump's tweets. It's just weird to me. I was like, I don't get it, dude. Trump's the ultimate troll. And I said, Owen Benjamin, you know this. Why are you so upset by this? Weird. He goes, Josh, you queer. You sound like a queer. That's okay. So just, dude, what's going on, man? What's happening? Like people on the right upset about Trump's tweets, and the same people on the right upset about Trump's tweets. The same people say, I can't believe you're upset about Trump's tweets. I'm like, what's going on? It's weird. And then the whole thing's stupid. Anyway, Joe the Toe Rogan. I'll never forget when he's talking with Osterholm. I said, Joe the Toe, that was the beginning of the fear. And then the same time, Tucker was meeting with Trump. And I said, all these guys are friggin', they're all meeting behind the dumpster without their pants on. Just my alleged. Yeah, I especially he's been doing it for so long. But it's the weirdest thing, man. Candace and Tucker are bought and paid. Oh, 100%. I agree with that. Yeah, see, I don't even know if I agree with that. I don't. Why would Tucker need to be bought? Candace, maybe, but Tucker's wealthier beyond anything you and I will ever see in 20 lifetimes, Miguel. I don't know if he's bought. I'm not sure what's going on. I don't. I think it's almost like, I think in a way, because I was kind of going down some of that myself, in terms of like Israel is in charge of everything, because I didn't like Israel at all during the pandemic. I thought it's like, man, what the hell, dude? I think it was Moderna. One of those vax companies was coming out of Israel, maybe more than Ben Shapiro's promoting his vaccine company. Ben Shapiro's, take the vax dummy. And Israel is, promoting the gay and lesbian stuff. And I was like, this is not a country that I want to get behind, dude. I don't like it. And then the October 7th thing happened. And I said, no, there's no way Hamas, armed Hamas hand gliders with AK-47s were able to take hand gliding across the Israeli border and start picking off people for hours on end with the IDF was just up there. I said, no way, man. And that happened to go coinciding with the beginning of that they're going to start having massive protests against Netanyahu. I said, just no, that didn't happen like that. I mean, I don't know what happened, but it's just no way that the Israeli would just allow that to happen. I'm sorry. I say no. So I don't know what that was about, but I didn't like it. And I didn't like that they're freaking going heavy into Gaza, where they got Palestinians, innocent Palestinians and Christians and stuff. I don't like it. I still don't like it. That doesn't mean I hate Israel, but I mean, you can get suckered, man. You start saying, yeah, man. But then I started looking into it, because apparently the Jays control the world. I said, we got, do you know how many Jays are crushing? They're just regular guys. I was reading this thing just the other day about Jays coming here with nothing, and now they own like a scrapyard. Tons of scrapyard guys are Jewish. That's not people who control the world, just not. Now, I just think a lot of Jewish people, their standard deviation is much, much higher because they're risk takers, entrepreneurs, and they support their lineage. They support themselves, same group preference. And there's a lot to be honorable. We should follow that a lot more. So anyway, they had this guy who owns the biggest scrapyard in like Western Canada. He came in from Poland in like 1910 or something like that. Just had a horse and a cart. He'd go house to house with gathering scrap metal. And he turned that into now $170 million business, 4 generations of his kind, and like hundreds of employees. That's freaking awesome. I love it. And so people are like, oh, but freaking what's his name, Lenin or Trotsky, they're Jewish, thus Jew. I was like, well, that's stupid. I mean, especially when you see how many Catholics are bad. The whole thing's just dumb. Anyway, the point being is, it's very alluring to blame a group of people. And you say, oh, those guys, you're like, yeah, but at the end of the day, man, it's boring. It's like, come on. It's embarrassing, especially as a Christian. This is one of the things I liked about Tucker. Tucker's like, dude, I don't blame Jews because I'm a Christian. You can't blame any group of people for anything. I completely agree with that. But this stuff with Iran, I'm like, dude, what the hell? You're aligning with Muzzies who hate dogs, Tucker, and you're supposed to be a dog lover. That was my big thing. These Muzzies, Mondami, and then this idiot Sneeko and all these Muzzies, they hate dogs. I was like, how can you hate dogs? How can you align yourself as a dog lover with people who hate dogs? I know that sounds weird and trite. Oh, so that what made you turn? Yeah, that is what made me turn more than anything. Because I knew that they hated Christians. I knew they hated Jews. But hating dogs? I mean, it'd be like hating people with Down syndrome. You're like, why? Why would you hate? I mean, it doesn't make any sense. You can hate Jews and Christians all day long because there's always a quid pro quo, whatever it is. But a dog, what did a dog ever do to you? Well, they lick their butt. Oh my goodness, they lick their butt. Yeah, and half these people don't even freaking, you know what they do when they go to the bathroom, when they take a dump? You don't want to know. Let's just put it this way. Let's put it this way. You don't want to know, if you know what I'm saying. So like, okay, so dogs lick their butts, so they're bad. But the way you guys finish up after you take a dump, okay, that's kind of disgusting. Anyway, so that was my big jump. And I was like, no, hating dogs is a bridge too far for me, man. 100%. Because God gave us dogs because God loves us. They have higher IQs per capita. Also, who? The Jays? Probably. It's okay to hate cats. No, dude, I love cats. What are you talking about, Penelope? Freaking cats crush. I just can't have it because Charles allergic. Dude, I grew up with cats. We had Raider, we had Sweetness, we had Tiger. Then when I moved out of my mom's house, they got Snowball or I think it's Snowball or Snowbell. Forgot. And another one too. Ooh. We had Kitty. We had Tiger, Kitty, Raider, Sweetness when I was living with my mom. And then they had Snowball, Snowbell or something like that. And another one they had when I was gone. I forgot. And I hadn't had a cat since. But I've had dogs basically my whole life because dogs crush. Exactly. Yep, right there. Look at my man. They do with the it's disgusting, dude. Disgusting. But yeah, somehow dogs are bad. Yeah, there you go, what I'm saying. There's a genocidal ethnostate. What's not to like? Hey, look at that guy. Cheesehead. I don't know who best to be a big fish in a small pond. Lost all faith in, yeah, 100%, dude. I mean, just have faith in you. Well, there's tons of genocidal ethnostates everywhere, Pulverizer. That's the thing. I mean, who's not a genocidal ethnostate? I mean, just who isn't? He took. I don't think he took money from Qatar. Do we have any evidence of that? I don't buy that. I mean, maybe he did. I don't know. I just don't know why Tucker would need money from foreign entities because he's rich beyond. I just don't. I don't know. Yeah, but just because Iranians TV put Tucker on there doesn't mean that he's like that. See, I don't like this. Like Tucker's on Iranian TV, thus Tucker bad, or Tucker supports Iran or something. Yeah, that's a bridge too far because you could put anyone you want. You could put me on Iranian TV and say, "Oh, look at Josh is part of the Iranian propaganda." You're like, no, it's okay. No, I don't like that. Now, if Tucker goes to Iran and is like, "I will tell you how bad the United States is," while in Iran, that's a problem. But my understanding, and I don't follow it that much to be perfectly honest with you, but my understanding is the Iranians, they took a quip from Tucker, they put it on there, and that's whatever. I mean, just people have been doing that for years. Tucker, like, yeah, what I'm saying, I think people like attention, and you see, I think Tucker is going to be ultimately go Packers, and it's disgusting. You just look it up how they wipe Penelope, and you'll want to puke your pants. I think people just like attention. And I think what's going to happen with Tucker and Candace and all these idiots is that they're going to go the way of the Drudge Report without question. Most people are pro-American and we like America. And if you're coming across like you're pro-Iran, which they are, if not, just more than just, it seems like that way. I mean, you read some of these tweets and I don't, on whatever, on X, I'm like, dude, you guys sound crazy. You don't sound like you want America to win. That's for sure. Yeah, Tucker's in like many of the money back. Well, see, now Tucker will say, how come the people getting money from the Jewish state aren't on there? I don't know. I don't know this to be true. I don't really care that much, but I think there's something to be said about that. If you got to be on that website because you're accepting money from Qatar, whatever, I don't know. I'm just using that for an example. Then how come you don't have to be on that website for accepting money from Israel? I completely agree with that. I think actually what's going on is they're all competing for that same group of disinfected or disenfranchised supposed right wingers. And it turns out most of those supposed right wingers are new to the game, and they're actually just nothing more than left wingers, like Robert Barnes, who contributed the Max to Bernie Sanders in 2016, contributed to Act Blue. What's his name? Dave Smith, big lib, hiding as a libertarian, but still, again, another guy said, "Oh, COVID, maybe we should take this seriously." Tom Woods, he thinks he's Pat Buchanan, but he was like, "I don't know, maybe we should take this as they did." If you didn't see the COVID thing and you're calling yourself a libertarian, you're a freaking idiot, dude. You could see what was going on a mile away. That Tom Woods, and I like Tom Woods. I was like, how did you not see this? And they didn't see it because they were pro-vax. They believed it. That's what I'm saying. These libertarians like Dave Smith, Tom Woods, I don't know, some of these other guys, I don't know, Jimmy Dore, I would have no idea. I'm like, you guys listen to the propaganda. And as leftists or as libertarians, you should not have listened to the propaganda. You did for years. years and years on vaccines. So two things that these guys, we don't like government, but we went to the moon and vaccines work. I was like, oh, okay. And who says? The government. Okay, I got you. And then you'll say, well, I don't know. They go, well, no, don't you know? If it didn't, then how come Russia didn't say anything about the moon landing? Like, well, they didn't. Well, there's a couple of astronauts, but not all of them. Okay. So if Russia didn't disagree and the United States is saying it happened, that means it happened. Okay, seems kind of weird. The vaccine is scientifically proven, is it now? Well, that's what the CDC says. Okay, libertarian. I see. Libertarians, the CDC. It's funny, too, because my take on vaccines was derived from many leftist version of Nick Shirley. Many rabble rousers, what's her name? Ida Turnbull. What's it? Honoroff. No, it was Ida Honoroff. What's it? There's one from the 1900s and one from the 1970s. Something Honoroff from the 1970s and one from the 1900s. I can't remember. But anyway, and then obviously others as well. But anyways, that's where I came to challenge the vaccines from the far people from the left were saying, literally, going back to my mom as a, advocate of the communist stuff. My dad, those guys too had questioned big government back in the day. It used to be very left wing. So I'm not sure I want to trust the vaccine. All right, so let's go into this. This is going to be I had to get this off my head, and I'm just going to read it, and you guys can jump off. I don't care, but I find this so incredible. It's from this guy's book, Growing Up, by an old writer named Russell Baker. All right, so he's passed on, but I'm supporting the other channel. Are we on the other channel? We got 4 on the other channel. Anyway, so I'm just going to read this to you verbatim, because this is so sad. And it's just all these idiots saying how bad they got it now. I'm like, man, you don't even understand. So Russell Baker is a reporter for the, I think, Baltimore Sun or something like that. Then he became a syndicated, so in the New York Times, Washington Post, all that. Back in the 80s, I remember seeing his editorials or whatnot. Grew up in Virginia, just this whole background. You're like, damn, dude, like his dad died young. And just this, it's a story of what it was in America 100 odd years ago. And it's sad. But then he's talking, we're going to go right to the Great Depression. Right, I'm just going to read it. You can jump off if you want. I'm going to read anyway, because I've had to do this for a while. All right. Well, this is from Russell's autobiography. So when I'm talking about him. While I was experiencing the routine miseries of childhood, my mother was discovering the Depression. She quickly learned that her hope of finding a job and renting a place of her own was foolish. There were no jobs to be found. So remember, his mother, his dad died. So his mother's a widow now, and she's raising 2 children, and she had to leave her youngest daughter to be adopted by her siblings. I can't remember, but by cousins, maybe, I forgot. But she had to leave a child back in Virginia because she couldn't afford to raise 3 children on her own. So she took Russell and Russell's sister to go live with her brother in New Jersey. That's what's going on now, because her husband died. There were no jobs to be found. She hoped to resume teaching. The school administrators told her Virginia credentials were no good in New Jersey, and no jobs were likely to be available, even if she qualified. The story was the same everywhere. No jobs. No jobs for saleswomen in the department stores. Department stores were firing, not hiring. No jobs to factories. Factories that weren't laying off workers en masse were shutting down entirely. All that year, she walked the streets, combed the classified ads, sat in offices waiting to talk to possible employers, and always heard the same refrain: no jobs. In December, she found temporary holiday work in a Newark, New Jersey, 5 and dime. 12 hours a day at $18 a week. It was good pay. Any pay was good by then. It enabled her to contribute to the budget, and that was good for her self-respect. But because they were on the dole, by the way, they're also on the dole. but there's no longer any deceiving herself about becoming independent in terms of getting out from living with her brother. Of course, there's always a chance she would marry again. And this is where it starts getting interesting. As 1931 went from bad to worse, the possibility of another marriage began to be seen as her best hope for salvation. Tucking me into bed one night, she lingered on unusually for a long time. And then she asked, out of the blue, "Do you think Olaf will make a nice father?" It was a troubling question. And she must have noticed my uneasiness because she immediately said, "Olaf is a good man." That was her official seal of approval, for there were few good men in her catalog. Papa, this guy's granddad, of course, was a good man. And Uncle Alan, who they were living with, was a good man. But there weren't many others. I was vaguely aware of Olaf. He came out of the house now and then, he came to the house now and then, arms filled with bags of pastries, which he jovially pressed on us. I knew he and my mother occasionally went out together for walks. Beyond that, I paid him little attention. To me, he was nothing more than a jolly stranger with a funny way of talking. He was certainly not my idea of a father. Uncle Alan, again, they're living with this woman's brother, in New Jersey. Uncle Alan had met him while selling oleomargarine. Olaf was a skilled baker who had graduated to traveling salesman. With his sample cases full of margarine, he traveled through the northeastern states demonstrating and selling his goods in large plants and small neighborhood shops. Uncle Alan brought him home one evening and introduced him to my mom. He was a Dane, a big yellow-haired outgoing man in his late 40s, and a widower. He had emigrated to the United States after his wife's death. There is a son who is married and living in Western PA. Olaf had the venturesome business spirit my mother admired. He had borrowed from the banks to buy 3 or 4 houses in Pennsylvania and considered himself a developer. Borrowing from the banks to buy real estate, and the depression's kicking in. Yikes. He was a man of high good humor. Well-pressed double-breasted suits, manicured nails, and glossy polished shoes. He had risen above the labor of baking ovens, traveled from city to city, talked business deals with bankers. My mother saw a man of the future. And though I did not know it at the time, she loved him. But I did not. Though I liked his jovial spirits and ate his pastries with gusto, the possibility of having a new father scared me. My great terror then was of losing my mom. I had constant nightmares, ghastly nightmares, in which she was dead and Doris and I were left alone, Doris with his little sister. Olaf's work kept him on the road much of the time, though. During his absences, he wrote 2 or 3 times a week to my mother. The graceful flourish of his handwriting contrasted oddly with his fractured grammar and exotic spelling of his prose. Still, his discomfort with the mysteries of English did not diminish his power to make himself felt when he took up the pen. Through the comical spelling, eerie grammar, and devil-may-care punctuation, a distinctive voice emerged, full of sweetness, despair, earnestness, love, all expressed in a graceful Scandinavian lilt. This is where it gets bad. The first note of fear was sounded in a letter he wrote to my mom from Boston in May of 1932. He had visited his home office that day. Back at his hotel that night, he wrote to her about it. "Dear Elizabeth," that's this guy's mom, "today I have been together with our manager all day, and he told me that it looked like I'll have to go June 1st. Go, i.e. be canned. Business is so bad and getting worse for us. He let 4 salesmen go here May 1st, so now there's only 7 left. Last year, there were 17. Well, it doesn't help to worry," and he spells worry, W-O-R-R-I-E. It's kind of funny. "I have to start a bakery somewhere, just like you told me to do. Will you help me if I get one?" The following week, he called on customers in Providence and Newport, Rhode Island, and then came back to Boston and began another letter with bad news. Dear Elizabeth, Jess was at our office. They showed me letters they had written to Swift trying to keep me, but Swift said no, and I'm out. Swift is the company, and he's gone. He was let go. He was answering a letter from her, which she said Aunt Pat was going to find her a job. So Elizabeth's sister, or Elizabeth's brother's sister, Elizabeth's brother's wife is Aunt Pat, and Aunt Pat's going to try to find Elizabeth a job because the Christmas time working in the department store is gone. It was just a temporary job. And then Olaf said, how in the world could Pat get a job for you? You know, jobs today don't hang on trees. And then the abrupt switch to a more pleasant subject that typified his instinct to look at the bright side. Newport is the nicest place I've ever seen. He actually says Newport is the nicest place I ever seen because he's Scandinavian, a Dane. And then the next sentence, the relapse into fear. Do you know Elizabeth down in Baltimore is a baker who wanted me awful bad last time? He spells awful, AFFOUL. Who wanted me awful bad last time I was there. Maybe I will take the job for a while. How would you like that? Would you come and see me, or I can come and see you? Business is awful bad now. Now they're going to stop this office and only keep 3 salesmen. Last year they had 32. How people are getting over next winter, I can't understand. Again, thanks for your letter. You are a sweet girl. I will kiss you when I see you. How was that? Love to you and the children from Olaf, whatever. By the summer of 1932, President Hoover's mere depression had become the depression, with a capital D. Campaigning for re-election, he declared, prosperity is just around the corner. Olaf, however, was adjusting his goals downward. Olaf is like Willie Loman in The Death of the Salesman. I'm not familiar with that. Here's May 26, 1932. Dear Elizabeth, I will try to see that baker in Baltimore on Monday, June 6th. Today I was offered a job here with a baker who would pay me $45 a week. I told him I would think it over, but oh, how working in a bake shop in the summer months is hard work. No air conditioning, by the way. Just keep that in mind. Then a burst of romantic teasing. That widow in Pittsburgh has heard about I losing my job, and now she offers me all there is in this world if I'll come and run her shop. But I don't think it'll be so great. Do you? No, I know. You say no. Oh, how warm it is these days in the bake shop. And today we had a storm, a bad one too. A can of blueberries exploded today in the shop, and I got it all over me. How is that? Not so good. Love to you and the children from Olaf. Olaf is like just a happy-go-lucky, jovial guy. It's sad. I'm just telling you. Let's keep going. My mother is writing back to him letter for letter. She kept his stored away for years, not because she realized they constituted a personal history of the Depression, but because she valued them among her most precious treasures. What she said in her letters to him is all lost, except for echoes and resonances in his replies. It was not a conventional lover's correspondence, despite Olaf's frequent attempts to strike the chord of passion. He in growing fear, she in her mid-30s, impoverished, widowed with small children, both were using the mail to shelter them against loneliness. Earlier that year, Aunt Pat had her first child, a daughter named Kathleen. By mid-June, Olaf had retreated to his properties in western Pennsylvania and wrote a dear friend's letter to the whole family. And he said to Aunt Pat, Pat, you're an awful bad girl, not to write me anymore. You know I'm out of work and have been for some time. Nearly all the company I used to work for is out, and soon all their large packing will be out as well. I never know how hard times is till when I get back to Pittsburgh and trying to borrow money. I'm glad your husband, Alan, is working. Be sure to hang on to it, Pat. I told you a child is worth a barrel of gold. So he's telling Pat having a child is worth a barrel of gold. He had a job, though. This is Olaf. He was demonstrating and selling Pomacin, a new product from Germany. He also traded his car for an old Buick, a Buick car, and he spelt it all crazy funny, and it was about to set out on a selling trip with one of his sons. And then he says to Elizabeth, not working. Do you know how I am lost? And now all the insurance people down here come to see me. Do y'all think I'm full of money or something? I say full of baloney, but now I'll try this job as a traveling salesman first. I may land on the poorhouse, but then I won't be the first nor the last. Then 2 weeks later, he writes, Dear Elizabeth, Monday morning, Niels, my son, and I started out selling flavors and spices. We made during the week $37, but we spent $34 on hotels and meals. So I won't say it was good. The worst trouble is that the bakers think I'm going crazy. Coming down selling spices this morning in Pittsburgh, a baker we called on there said when seeing me, he said, what is this world coming to? Now Olaf comes and wants to sell spices. I feel so bad about it. I said to Niels, let's just go home because the baker had no money. He wasn't making any money. He was going bankrupt himself. Here's July. Dear Elizabeth, I got home late last night and I sent in my resignation. That job was no good. And by selling that stuff, I would have spoiled my name again amongst the bakers. They hadn't seen each other for 3 months. Yes, I would have liked to see you now, but I will later on, and then you and I will make up for all the lost time. Then I'll be kissing you till you tell me, oh, Olaf, you are good. Will you do that? You better say yes, because I'm almost sure of it. Tell me in your letters all the news. I like to hear from you. Oh, the taxes and the bills got to be paid, and I have no money. But then I don't worry. Love to you and the children from Olaf. Olaf was now having trouble meeting the mortgage payments on his rental properties, and he hoped to solve the problems by selling them. It was August, nearly 5 months since they had last seen each other. The long stretch of joblessness had started him reflecting philosophically about friendships. And here he is in August writing, Dear Elizabeth, thanks very much for your letter I received today. Yes, I wish I was down near you and would take you out for a ride. I'm sure it would make you cool. Here it is very nice weather in Pittsburgh. Cool at night. Oh, how I sleep when I'm here in my home. You know, it's so quiet compared to when I used to be in the city. All noise and so warm. I don't hear from anybody but you anymore. Here's what's interesting. How funny people are. Only when they think they can get something out of a person, then they are friends. But they soon change. Sad. You remember some days I received up to 20 letters when people thought they could get some from old Olaf. And now, not only you send me a letter to me. You are a good girl. I began to think I was going to sell a house this morning, but the party didn't have any money. Now I have 3 empty houses, nothing coming in, and taxes to be paid. Will come out okay. I hope so. I always tell people not to worry. I won't either. Now, good night. With love to you and the children from Olaf. It'll all come out okay. I hope so. Then, with the country reaching the modern equivalent of the Dark Ages, Olaf's declaration that it will all come out okay was a boundless optimism. It was a season of breadlines, soup kitchens, hobo jungles, bandits riding the highways. Suicide was epidemic among men who felt their manhood lost because they could not support their families anymore. Unemployment was at 25%. There were 85,000 businesses that had gone bankrupt, 5,000 bank failures, 275,000 families evicted from their homes. Hoover's campaign slogan, prosperity is just around the corner, had become a sardonic national joke. Even among people like Olaf who wanted to believe it, enthusiasm was muted down to, well, it'll all come out okay, as opposed to it'll all be great. October 6, 1932. It was now 7 months since they'd seen each other last. Dear Elizabeth, thanks much for your letter I received today. I see you are feeling a little blue that evening. Yes, I wish I could have been with you. I'm sure you would have felt all right. Yes, I'll be down there for your birthday unless something happens. There is a man here today who wanted to hire me to call on bakers in Pittsburgh, but it's all commission and no salary, so I had to say no. I got a very nice letter from people today where my son rents his house. They asked me to pay my son's rent, but I'm not even going to answer that letter. They said in the letter that you, Mr. Olaf, is the cause of your son being late on his rent because you brought him into the world. It was up to me to make it right. I say, I wonder who's to blame, for I'm also here in this world and no one ever helped me. Who's to blame for you, Elizabeth, being here? And say that's what I call baloney. But that's what the world is full of. So you can see Olaf is starting to get not quite so optimistic. During their long separation, their letters were creating an intimacy between them far deeper than they had known when they walked together in Newark. There, their relationship had been entirely correct and according to the canons of courtship. The most passionate moment, to which Olaf alluded to now and again, occurred during a walk that took them near the neighborhood hospital when they seemed to have kissed. He wrote in the autumn of 1932, "We are having such a nice day. Just like spring. I went out for a walk this morning. Do you remember when you and I went for a walk? I mean, to the hospital?" Distance and loneliness encouraged hopes of a more passionate relationship when they met again. Yet Olaf's most romantic compositions were constantly being interrupted by cries of terror. In October 1932, "If I don't come to your birthday this year, please don't worry, because when I do come, I will kiss you and love you that much more. Yes, I'll keep on till you can put your arms around me and tell me I am a good, that I can love you. Can I love you so much? You better say no. Tell Pat I will answer her letter when I get to feel a little bit better. What makes me sick is all the jobs I am to have, but never get any." So basically saying he applies for all these jobs, but never gets any. "I was up to see my doctor today. He tells me I'm okay, in very good health. I know I am, if only I could get a job." The election of FDR in November did not raise the spirits. November 11th, 1932. President election came out, I think, okay. It don't matter if it's Republican or Democrats in times like this, though. Butter prices are down where they were a year ago, and they still go back around 30 cents per pound. They never will hire me to demonstrate margarine. Now I am down and out again, and I don't like to keep on borrowing money from the banks because I got to pay it back sometimes, but I have no job. All these idiots say deflation is good. Butter prices are down where they were a year ago. Not good. Desperate to pay his bankers, Olaf went back to the bake ovens that month. He writes in November 19th, "Dear Elizabeth, I won't come to you very, very bad. I want to come to you very, very bad, and I will. And when I do, you'll be so glad with me. I know you will. But I borrowed during the summer over $1,000 from the banks and was down and out again. And then this guy came along and told him about a job. And I went and I got it, but oh, how I do not like it. I mean, long hours, no good, too much work. We got to go to work Sunday all day. And again, Monday morning, every morning at 1 a.m. till next day around 2 or 3 in the afternoon, every single day. But I must stand for a while." 2 days later, he writes, "This hour is day and night, work all the time. Yesterday, we worked all day till 10 last evening." Remember, he started at 1 a.m. Then we start again at 2 this morning. Now it is 3 afternoon. I just got home. Now, Elizabeth, don't worry. Get along the best you can and always think and say, someday Olaf will come, and I will. These lines were the closest to a promise of marriage he had ever written. She wrote back immediately, urging him to look for an easier job, more fitting for a man of his age and achievements. And he writes back, "No, Elizabeth, I tried all over to get a job. I will bet I spend $5 on a stamp sending letters to every one of the bakers who offered me jobs with big money in the past, but none of them answered." Let's see. Well, such is life. No, you mustn't think I would stay here in this dump one day if I could get another job. Now it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and we got to go to work at 11 this evening. Isn't it some life? Well, I hope soon things will change for the better. I'll get to you someday. Don't worry. Love to you all from Olaf. 5 days later, he had good news. Yay! Yesterday, I received a box of cigars from a very good baker in Philadelphia. So maybe my friends begin to come round again. I wrote him today and thanked him and said, if he needed a man, let me know. I'd come down there to work. 10 days later, I got a letter from that baker in Philadelphia today, but it's the same story. He liked very much to have me, but not now. Well, there'll be something coming soon, I think. Say, isn't it funny during a person's life, all that comes up and one thing after another, and then it's nothing as long as we have our health. That's what he's saying. Now, at least I got my health. In the middle of December, Elizabeth wrote him that she had sent him a Christmas present. And Olaf wrote back, you shouldn't send me any present, not in times like this. I'm sending a little something to you so you can give it to the children for Christmas. I hope you'll have a nice Christmas. I wish I could be there with you, but I will someday. Night, with love to you and all from Olaf. Her gift arrived on December 20th. Dear Elizabeth, thanks very much for your letter and the packets I received today. I won't open it until Christmas. I never do that with any present. He sells present, P-R-E-C-E-N-T. My wife used to open up everything before the day, and I always scolded her. Say, you are a sweet girl now, Elizabeth. The way you write me, I like it. You will see when I come down to you. We will know each other, and we won't be afraid. Now, I was never of you, but you was a little afraid of me. And you should be them, days because you didn't know me. But now you do, and I can almost feel how sweet it will be when I put my arms around you. He also had good news. Today, a man came into our shop from Gumbert Company in New York City. He said to me, what in the world are you doing here, Olaf? I told him. Then he said, write to our company, and I think they'll hire you. So this is what I will do. I hope I'll get a job, but it won't be till January. Well, again, I wish you a Merry Christmas, and thanks for your kindness. And then January 4th, 1933. You'll never guess. I got a letter from the people in New York today, but the same story. They'd like very much to have me, but the depression is on. Oh, how I do wish it would end so I could get a job, but around here it's getting worse instead of better. 4 days later, though, his spirits were high and he was counting his blessings. This job here has been a great experience for me. You know what I mean? I used to be a baker for 8 years since I was working it, and a fellow forgot all about working in that time, but now I'm fairly good at being a baker again. I'm losing weight now, and I can feel like when I get dressed up on Sundays, but that's okay because I was too fat. Elizabeth, isn't it funny that all a person goes through during a lifetime, you have to go through lots, but I think I a little bit more because I'm older. But again, as long as we have our health, everything is okay, and we shouldn't complain. Then in mid-January, the prospect failed. That baker never answered, and I suppose never will. Funny how it goes. Then at the end of January, I did write a company and had an answer. I did write another company, had the same answer. They sure would like to have me, but the depression's on and it's awful. I won't be able to come down to you, Elizabeth, and you won't come to me here, and I'm more than 400 miles away, and it's all from that depression. Next week, he writes, business is getting worse instead of better. That's all he said. Next week, that baker in Baltimore never answered yet. And it's funny, he's the one who offered me $125 a week if I would have come down to him. It's not much over a year ago when he made that offer. Now he won't even spend a 3-cent stamp replying to me. I wrote to one in Boston who had offered me $50 per week a year ago, but he won't spend a 3-cent stamp on me either. So basically, he was getting the job offers last year. Now no one's replying to him. Well, such is life. I think I wrote over 50 letters to different bakers about a job, but only 2 answered me, and they said how sorry they were they couldn't hire me. The following week, the gloom lifted at last. After much despair, everything was turning out okay. Life was funny with his crazy up and downs. He was exuberant. February 13th, February 15th, 1933. Dear Elizabeth, can you imagine I received a letter today from Mr. Eckerson in Jersey City telling me that Rice's Bakery in Baltimore want to get me for at least 2 weeks and forever if I'm not too expensive. So I wrote them right now. I don't know who they are, but whoever they are, they must be okay. I mean, because they want me, so maybe our dreams at last will come true. Say, it is funny. Here I give up all this bakers, and they send for me. Now I hope it soon will be over with them, and I'll be able to come to you. Are you glad, Elizabeth? Love to you from Olaf. And she was delighted. She immediately wrote urging him not to sell himself too cheaply to Rice's Bakery. His reply to her was an epitaph for their entire generation. Dear Elizabeth, thanks very much for your letter, and thanks for your advice. But Elizabeth, the war is over with, and the good times is over with. Them days we set a price for our labor, but today we just take what we can get at any price. So I didn't put any price on, only told them what I'm getting here, and I'll take whatever wages they offer. FDR was inaugurated on March 4th, but his sonorous cadences designed to revive the national spirit failed to stir Olaf. The great Baltimore opportunity vanished. Dear Elizabeth, do you know, Elizabeth, I'm feeling very blue. I never heard from Rice's Baking Company, and I begin to think all go the same way as the others. Now, I've been sitting here all day listening to Roosevelt being installed as our new president. While I do hope some of this is all nice things they told us over the radio will come true, Elizabeth, I'm very radical. My idea would be today, if I was president, to jump on a freight train, go to Washington, and tell them I'm ready to work. What they've done there today will cost $10 million. We all know it would help many poor people. Outspending that money won't give us work. But perhaps I'm funny the way I look at things. Then 4 days later, he got a letter from Rice's Baking Company saying, no, we're not going to hire you after all. He had been trying to rent his houses, but without success. It was becoming harder to meet the payments on the mortgages. He was also having trouble paying the taxes. His letters were increasingly melancholy. He wrote in March, no, I don't do anything. Just sit around and walk uptown and listen to people tell me how lucky I am with lots of money. I always say, yes, it is great. Tomorrow I got to put a new hot water tank in a house. Well, there's always something. On April 14th, he confided that he was $1,000 in debt. I talked to the cashier at our bank, asking him to let me have $1,500. He said, not now, but come here in the middle of next month. I think you can have it then. If I do, I'll come to you, Elizabeth. If I could get it, I would have done it today. I would come down to be with you tomorrow night. And there's Elizabeth, by the way. That's this guy's mom and Olis, who he's right to. April 19th, 1933. Dear Elizabeth, thanks very much for your very sweet letter I received today. Thanks for telling me all the nice things. I do know now we can be free to each other, not afraid when we see each other again, not like what it was when I was down there before. I know I was always looking at you when I was at your house, but you never seemed to be that interested in me. I know you beginning to be the day we went to the hostel, right? So he's reminding when they kissed. His next letter on April 24th was a hammer. Yeah, this kills me, man. Dear Elizabeth, thanks for your letter I received today. I'm sorry, but please don't write me anymore. Yours truly, Olaf. She wrote him back immediately. Had she done something that offended him? He writes back on April 30th. Dear Elizabeth, thanks for your letter I received the other day. No, you have not done anything to me, but the depression has. The city took everything I had for taxes, so now I am down and out. That is why I don't want you to write me anymore. I came to like you through your letters, and I thought maybe someday we could come to know each other. But not now. I won't be able to borrow any money anymore. I'm trying to get enough so I can go back to Denmark and perhaps stay there. So please forget all about me. I am lost and going. If I ever got back again and you are not married, then if I can help you, I will. But please try to find a man good enough for you and forget all about you ever seeing Olaf. She wrote again and had no reply. Then again and no reply. She sent a registered message dated May 18th. On May 19th, he wrote, Dear Elizabeth, for the last time. Thanks for your letters. Yes, I received them all. But I told you, what is the use of writing? I was in hope to come to know you, but getting a job down there, but now I never come down. I'm like I told you before, lost. I tried to raise enough money to go back to Denmark, but so far I can't. This town is going down and out. So I'm asking you to stop writing to me because I'm not interested in anything anymore. Love to you all, Olaf. The war was over with. The good times are over with. Well, it'll all come out okay. I hope so. I am lost and I'm going and I'm not interested in anything anymore. Olaf had disappeared into the depression. My mother's hopes for finding love and security vanished with him. Man, I know that's long, but that doesn't, dude. I need the government to pay for my college. F that. It's so much worse, pal. Inflation. F that. F that. F that. That's a guy who emigrated here full of hopes, full of promise. And he said, I am lost. I'm not interested in anything anymore. Yeah. Anyway, I just had it sounds very depressed because there's a depression. He couldn't find work. And for a man who can't find a job, you know what I'm saying? Men got to work. That's the thing, man. Men need to work. And all these idiots out there like, I can't find work. You can find work. You just don't want to. You don't want to find work. And I sit there, I think of all these idiots out there like griping and bitching, moaning, freaking America, man, it costs too much. I'm like, you know what it's like? Not even during the Great Depression, but just when my parents were coming up. The boomers, they had everything handed to them. There wasn't work, you freaking idiot. Not you guys, the freaking idiots, though. Work was so hard to come by back then. It's 10%, I think even 12% at one point under Reagan in 1982. Massive unemployment. On top of high inflation, on top of high tax rates. This idea that, man, a guy could own a house and have his wife stay home and live. It's freaking idiotic. It's so damn idiotic. You don't have work. You're not having a house. Oh, by the way, guess what? The majority of people did not own their own homes in the 1930s and 1940s, 1920s. Up until the GI Bill and the VA came along, did about 63% of people own a home. And that's been like that ever since, about 63% of the population. Oh, what were the homes like back then? A hell of a lot smaller, worse than they are now. But yes, it is not cheap to own a home relative to median wages. I grant you. I 100% grant you that. Well, why would that be? Massive demand with massive immigration, lack of supply. Not shocking here. You increase the immigration, the supply, the demand for housing. What do immigrants do? They lower wages. We all know this. So it's a twofer against up-and-comers, 100%. But for these up-and-comers to be pissed off at boomers, I know. You should be pissed off the globalists. Don't be pissed off at boomers. They didn't do anything. They grew up in tough times too. Not as tough as the Great Depression, but certainly in tough times, you freaking fools. You should be pissed off the globalists. The globalists who said massive immigration. I mean, it's just basic economics. You increase the demand, all right? What happens to prices? They go up. And then on top of that, you decrease the wage base. Why? Because there's more supply for wages. I don't understand how people don't get this. No, you don't blame the immigrant per se. You don't say that guy right there. No, you say the freaking globalists who run the show. Lower wages, more profits. Lower wages hurts the median wage earner. More people who need a place to live, increases demand. What does that do? It increases the expense of the product. Let's take a look here real quick at something I want to see. We're going to look at the Fred new housing starts. Right here. We'll look at what the Fred says, and we'll go back. Right. I do have sympathy in some regard, but also I'm sick of people blaming the boomers. So here's housing starts, and you can see it's right here. We're at 1.5 million housing starts. This is as of 1/26. So January 2026, 1.5 million. So that looks like I want you see that, right? Where were we in 1959? 1.6 million. Does anyone see the problem here? NAFTA trade deals, 100%. Yep. This book, Jeremy, is called right here. It's called Russell Baker Growing Up. Russell Baker Growing Up. I love these historical narratives. I do, because it just reminds me how good I got it, for sure. Arvin says, I was pushed out of my job because of globalism, Chinese depressed our industry where I used to work. Can't compete with the guy who works for $3 an hour, right? And I'm not mad at the guy who works for $3 an hour. I'm mad at American companies allow that to happen. Anyway, so if you look at this right here, you're like, oh, but Josh, this is the same housing starts we had in 1960. Oh, okay. Now let's do something here. We're going to edit graph. And we're going to add population, U.S. population. All right, let's take a look. Population, add data series. And we're going to, right here, we're going to put that one on the right side, format. And right there, put that on the right. And so what you'll see here is the number of houses. I freaking hate, I don't hate the libertarian corporatists. I freaking despise them, dude. Despise them. The neocons, the neoliberals, the globalists, I just despise. Look at this. The number of housing starts are the same, less than they were in 1960 when the population was a half of what it is now. How does anyone see this? The number of new housing starts is lower than what it was in 1960 when the population was half. Now you can say, well, the inventory has increased. Hasn't the inventory? What kind of house are we talking about back here, dude? I mean, the inventory has gotten older and older and older, more run down, costs more to maintain. This is insanity. I'm just like, but the capital markets are doing great. Yeah, and thank the good Lord, I own some of the capital markets, and most of you guys too. But you know what would be even better if some of that capital market increase went to labor. You don't have to be a commie to think like this. You've got to be an American first. What I'm saying, we're participating by investing in the broad-based global index funds or broad-based American index funds. Yeah, we are. But you know what's be even better, other than my, most people's couple $100,000 portfolio, would be if they had higher wages. Higher wages. My dad's aunt sold her house multiple times during the Depression. Lots of people have come up with a down payment, lost a job, and wound up being behind a victim. Absolutely. During the Depression, people were getting put out left and right. Left and right. People forget this too, by the way. You didn't have 30-year mortgages then. A lot of times you had 5-year mortgages. 5-year. So if you bought a house in 1928, guess what happened in 1933? Your mortgage was up. And guess what the bank did? They take a new appraisal. You're like, your debt is based on the value from when you bought in 1928. Guess what happened to the value? I did a video on this. Guess what happened to the price of your home? It went down. The bank isn't going to give you a new mortgage to refinance on the initial 1928 or 1929 purchase price. They'll give it to you on the new purchase, the new price to refinance, but the value of your home has gone down significantly. So guess what? Your mortgage matured. Your house you're upside down. You got no job. What do you think happens? Oh, you're out on the streets. Crazy. Yeah, there are HOA fees. My HOA fee isn't bad. I wish I didn't have an HOA fee, but it's not bad. I think I pay $1,000 a year. Builders get much lower profit margin building starter homes versus McMansions. Many culprits in the housing shortage. Yeah, but the main culprit is demand. What I'm saying, you increase the demand, you're going to increase the prices. No two ways around that. Well, and don't forget the builders too. On the other hand, they still have to do a lot more. They got to put whatever the freaking sprinkler systems in. They got all these mandates and all this crap. You see what I'm saying? Back then, you didn't have to do all that crap. You can argue all day long is good or not. I don't care. But it's just like this facts. They got sprinkler systems. They got this. They got that, and the other. In the old days, you didn't have all that stuff. You just put up a house, quick and easy without having to go through freaking all this regulation. That just adds more. Yeah, well, the furniture industry, because we've offshored that too. You know, it used to be North Carolina, buy cheap furniture in North Carolina. Textile industry is dead too. I was chased by furniture to buy a new bed. I guarantee it wasn't made in America. Anyway, NAFTA, yeah, 100%. And I was such a strong proponent of NAFTA. What an idiot. What a freaking idiot, dude. I fell for the tricks of the globalist, the free market libertarians, these freaking fools. Those same people got scared about the COVID. Everyone sucks, dude. Hey, thanks, Miguel. I should have done it in Spanish, Miguel. Sorry, man. That story turned my Saturday night sad. Most of my kin live through multifamily rentals. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, debt-free and have a pension. Yeah, you're golden. Deflation is good when you have cash, unequivocally. It's horrible when you're in debt. It's good when you have cash. And we're completely 100%. Oh, dude, 100%. Willie Loman, but isn't that, I thought that book was like socialist. Maybe I got to read that, dude. Hot young Asian wife even winning. There's Penelope. My mom worked at 5 and 9 during the Depression. You went in an hour early to arrange the merchandise. You did not get paid for that. Yep. Worship for a ball, repent. Okay. Yeah, right on. Yeah, there you go. Picking up my Filipina fiance in July. I like how you're picking her up like a 6-pack of beer. Oh, yeah. You got to do all kinds of stuff now, Penelope. I don't know about sprinkler system, but I mean, in fact, your state, they want to mandate solar panels and stuff. Yeah, 100%. It depends on what state you're in. I don't think we had that, but like all the blue states, stupid. You know what I'm saying? It's just, I was reading, where was it? The guy he had posted something. I forgot where it was. He had to do something on a fixer-upper. He had to change the faucet. That's what it was. On a fixer. He was contracted. I forgot who it was. He contracted to redo his kitchen, and to change the faucet, it had to be a union guy who had to get the county or the city to approve. I forgot what it was. But I was like, you gotta be kidding me, man. So to change the faucet out, they needed a union guy to do it. The union guy had to get the guy to come in and approve it, whatever the regulator. I said to change a friggin' faucet? Crazy. Anyway, my point is, dude, we should have less immigration. I want immigrants to come here and crush. I do not want immigrants to be leeching on society. Americans leeching on society is one thing. I don't like it, but at the end of the day, they're Americans. We should not have Somalis, Haitians, freaking Irish Catholics. I don't care who they are. You come here and leech and get the hell out of Dodge. But the Pope says we shouldn't, what did he say? We shouldn't wage wars as anti-God. I'm like, kind of remember, could have sworn, I think David was waged war. I think there's a lot of war being waged in the Old Testament. Like, God, maybe I'm wrong. I could have sworn that there's lots and lots of war going on. Maybe I'm wrong. It's anti-Christian wage war. I said, I'm not quite sure about that there, Popey. Not quite sure about that. I'm not sure the Catholics need to sit back and let communists or muzzies or Jews or atheists, I don't care, atheists fall under all the categories, to come and just run you through. I don't think we need to do that. And if we're taking it to the enemy before they take it to us, but that's what we always say. No, I get it. I 100% get it. Well, absolutely. But I just like somebody pushing up daisies makes me happy. Someone who's murdered innocent service personnel with their funding of terror. That doesn't bother me. If the Pope doesn't like it, screw the Pope. That's all I got to say about that. If the Pope wants, by the way, someone did a video. I thought this was funny. So I saw it on a Bridget Fetisi. This cracked me up. Apparently the crime rate in Vatican City is higher than the crime rate in New York City. That made me laugh out loud. So Vatican City has strict restrictions on who can come, all that stuff. I just find the whole stupid thing. And the crime rate in Vatican City is still higher than it is in the United States. Jesus doesn't sound, ironically, Jesus does quote from the Old Testament quite a lot, does he not, there, Pulverizer? That's, Yeah, these are arguments I've made myself. Well, Jesus talks about the Old Testament a lot. And you can't overlook Jesus referencing the Old Testament and say that the Jesus and the Old Testament don't meet hand in hand, because they certainly do. I'm Catholic, but so many churches around me are libs pushing open. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, so if a Catholic church has an Israeli flag, 57 flavors flag, time to freaking pop smoke. I would even say if a Catholic church had an American flag, it's time to pop smoke. You shouldn't have flags on your altar in Catholicism. You shouldn't. Anyway, so reading back my book about the Spanish Civil War and how the commies went after the Catholics and whatnot. It's some evil stuff. But again, people say, Catholic liberation theology. Let's see if I can't find. Turn the cheek is not eye for an eye. And the funny thing was, Jesus was actually not turning the cheek when things were being committed in the trading of gold, was he? So let me see what my mom said about my my uncles right here. Pretty interesting, actually. Turn the cheek is not a death sentence. See, hold on a second. My mom says, maybe I can't find it. I thought, anyway, she's talking about the liberation theology of my uncle, great uncle, and my aunt, my great aunt, who are priests and nuns down there. And yeah, card carrying communists. That's not my people. Some people that we were partying with on Peaks Island. That guy was a card carrying communist. Right here. Nope. Everett Wintergreen, right there. Father Eric was a practitioner of liberation theology, which is inherently political. Priests and nuns got murdered for preaching it. They were very brave, as was Father Eric. After he died, the townspeople erected a statue of him. If you are ever in that city in Brazil, you can tell people are related to him, but beware of the bandoleros. Yeah, I'm never going to Brazil, but and so what happened is the priest got murdered in Spain as well. So for being anti-communist. So anyway, Gustavo Gutierrez is a big player in liberation theology in South America and Peru, pure Marxist. I was just reading about a guy. That seems familiar to me. Was he part of Chile? Because I was reading something about my man. I'll show you right here in Chile. Because Pinochet is the Mac of all daddies, dude. Pinochet crushes. And so here's Pinochet. So this is from page 78. This is from the John Birch Society's 20th Century Heroes right here. 20th Century Heroes, a compilation of profiles published in the New American Magazine. And you're going to see a couple guys are just legends. They're all legends, but Chiang Kai-shek, my man Franco, right here, Pinochet, right there. Booker T. Washington, G.K. Chesterton, C.S. Lewis, yeah. Anyway, so I'm reading right now about Pinochet because Pinochet's, and then he also talks about right here Salazar from Portugal, stopping the communists. People forget how bad commies are. So let's go back to 75 because I thought he said something about that right there. And here's Alan Allende, how you say his name? I'm not Spanish, so I don't know. The communists, the Marxist left, and the One World Internationalists hate Pinochet, not only because he led one of the few counter-revolutions that succeeded in ousting a commie pig, but also because he's a Christian patriot who stands for everything they oppose. Yep. And don't forget, Spanish authorities sought to extradite Pinochet. Spain was playing at the same time that the Spanish were extraditing Pinochet for his crimes against humanity. Spain was playing host to Castro at the Ibero-American Summit in Oporto. Comrade Castro's Stalinist legacy includes an estimated 1 million refugees and tens of thousands of political prisoners rotting in his brutal cells. Survivors of those hellholes, like Armando Valadares and Anthony Bryant, testify that sadistic torture is routine throughout the Cuban gulag. More than 60,000 victims have drowned fleeing his workers' paradise. Yep. According to Cuban scholar Dr. Armando Lago, Castro's regime has executed an estimated 30,000 people. Yeah, right. Check this out. The human rights hypocrisy of the liberal political elite is shared by the liberal media. A study of media reporting on human rights of more than 2 decades found that in 1976, the Washington Post ran 9 human rights articles on Cambodia, 4 on Cuba, 1 on North Korea, and 58 on Chile. The New York Times conditions its readers with 4 human rights stories on Cambodia, 3 on Cuba, none on North Korea, and 66 on Chile. The same kind of grotesque imbalance held true for much of the rest of the media, and the same holds true today. Yep. Right here, we got this guy right here. Willie Meyer, a parliamentary spokesman for the United Left, Spain's renamed Communist Party. We do not consider that Fidel Castro is a dictator. We respect the Marxist-Leninist legality by whose definition political persecution, torture, and disappearances cannot exist in Cuba. We are dividing the world between the good guys and the bad guys. There's a vacuum in the international enforcement of human rights, and we realize that whoever seizes the initiative to punish violators will win the high ground. Dude, we're up. That's what I don't understand, all these freaking fools. We're up against communists. The communists will make you push up daisies. Oh, but Trump, he said a bad thing about the Pope. Oh, my goodness. And the Pope is doing nothing to protect Catholics. Nothing. Pope is doing nothing. In fact, if anything, he's advancing Muslim by allowing the Muslims to come into the Vatican and say prayers. The whole thing's crazy. Whole thing's crazy. And people are like, but I'm so offended by Trump's tweets. I'm not. Freaking keep going, Trump. It's a freaking, there is the evil and the good have got to prevail. And we are the good, unequivocally. Doesn't mean we bow down before stupid Netanyahu. Who cares? Just means America's got to win. Because look what's going on in Europe. It's just bad. Bad. They're idiots. They're being taken over by Satanists. No other way around it. It's insane to me what's going on there. Look what's going on in some blue states here. It's crazy. Crazy. They had a guy arrested in the UK, a Palestinian refugee who they granted asylum status to, who turned out in R blank PAD, a 13-year-old girl. And now he's saying, well, Islam allows for us to do that to non-Muslim girls. And I'm sure there's going to be some self-defense in the UK that says, yeah, you can't blame her for that. All right, see you, Harry. Don't forget my shirt. I'm not wrong. Fascism doesn't bother me. Everyone keeps saying fascism is bad. I'm a fan. I'm a fan of fascism. 100%. Because we know that state-sponsored entities, actually nuclear, I'll just give a perfect example. We just brought online in 2023 and 2024 2 more nuclear reactors here in Georgia that combined are going to give us 2,250 megawatts, 500 megawatt hours per, I can't remember, but it's a massive amount of electricity generation. And is thankfully from Sniffy Joe and Obama, they gave financing for that because it would never happen without the government financing. People used to be executed in Moscow riding the prison bus after the sentencing in the communist courts. I'm 100%. I mean, everybody knows this. I mean, if you just, we got tons of evidence against that. And we can argue Rebecca West might be a little bit, hyperbolic. Paul Hollander, maybe a little bit hyperbolic. Okay, let's say the communists only killed half of what these guys said. Let's just say that. So instead of 60 million, we'll say 30 million. All right. Okay, that's still quite, that's still pretty bad. Just a fact. And then you factor in, Castro killing all those people, a small island population, not very big. Yeah. So at the end of the day, the problem is the capitalists will, as Lenin said, supposedly, they'll sell us the rope for which we'll use to hang them with. That's the thing with corporatism and capitalism. They just want the profit margin. They don't care about nationalism. That's why a nationalistic, fascistic way of looking at things, which takes pride in your state and your country, And a lot of these guys, again, the Iberian Peninsula being under Spain, being in Portugal, Italy, a lot of these, not Hitler. Hitler wasn't very pro-Catholic, that's for sure. But certainly under the Iberian Peninsula, Franco, the guy from Portugal, John Alvarez, I think, these guys are very heavily influenced by the Catholic Church. And then I just want Catholics, Christians are all the same. Mormons, all more power to you, man. You got at some point, you got to take pride in your religion. And that's one of Tucker's arguments, which I think is quite valid. I think a lot of the anti-Tucker idiots wrongly claim that he's saying Islam is better. No, I hate this crap. He didn't say that the countries under Sharia law are more advanced than the West. That's what they're trying to say. He said he didn't. I mean, he said that, but it's not what his point was. And if you just listen to the thing, you'll recognize he's saying they have more pride in their religion and in their culture than we have in the West under the people under Sharia law. And when he's talking about the West, he's talking about the UK, he's talking about New York City, Portland, Maine. And it's true. There's more pride in the religion, the culture under the Sharia law advocates than there is in Portland, Maine, New York City, and any place in basically the modern European West. It's just a fact. And he's not saying they're more advanced, technologically more advanced. They're just more proud. And that doesn't mean they're right or wrong, but just can we stop this? Tucker said this, because they do the same thing with Trump. Trump said this. They even do the same thing with Pope Francis when is he dead? I can't remember. When he was around. And I can't stand Pope Francis. But I read these little tidbits. It's kind of like when people use quotes out of text of the Bible. I was like, no, there's more to it than that. You freaking fools. Stop this crap. Not you guys. It's like, no. Let's not do this slanderous stuff. I hate it because Tucker Carlson has got some right things to say. Flamin' Nick Fuentes does, and that guy's a clown. You know what I'm saying? Flamin' Fuentes and who's that guy, Andrew Tate? Just stop. They're not, they're idiots. Tucker has some important stuff to say. I mean, he's lost his mind, and it seems like his support of Iran. I don't understand that, but some of the stuff he has to say is spot on. Why just discount every single thing he says when it's not correct? Laura Loomer, can't stand her. She's got some important stuff to say too from the other side. They do. There's some truth in what these people say. Why would people just discount them because, Tucker said this? Like, well, what's the context? Well, no, I'm not going to look at the context. Did he say this or not? Yes, he did say that. Well, there you go. Yeah, well, not there you go, dude. It's not. There's more to the story. Why do that? Why the false dichotomy? Take a little bit of stupid Laura Loomer, who's obviously a dude, by the way. I mean, Laura Loomer is definitely a guy. Put a little bit on there with Tucker, who's obviously an addict. I mean, Tucker's got addicting personality like you wouldn't believe. I bet he was knee deep in sniffing the tables. And he might still be. I don't know. But he's obviously addicted to nicotine for sure. And probably addicted to many other things too. Anyway, so you got, stupid Laura Loomer, the man. You got silly addict Tucker Carlson. They both have some things to say that are worthwhile listening to. And to just discount them all, it's just stupid. And I hate it. I hate that stuff. Trump's got some idiotic things to say, but he's got a lot of things that are worthwhile. But Trump offends me. Then you're a thin skin. Can you throw a prayer for iDipBro? I don't get it. Can you throw up a prayer for iDipBro? I don't get what you're saying, man. What's iDipBro? Are you saying throw up a prayer because you chew tobacco? No, 100%. They all have the right to say what they want. No one's saying that. They're saying, but I don't get what you're asking me to say a prayer for dipping. I see iDipBro, but I'm not sure if you're talking about dipping tobacco, like a skull. What's the other one? Yeah, it's Kodiak's skull, right? Skull. They put the rednecks would put in their back pocket there, back jeans. He's leaving. Dip equals. Oh, throw a prayer for dip means leaving. That's what that means for real. Yeah, we'll get out of here. Heavenly Father, we just thank you for the abundance you provide to us. We should be a lot more grateful. We should be a lot more content, but instead, because we're of this world, we're more discontent, more discombobulated, more worrisome. And if we just go back to that reading about Olaf and how bad he had it. Just may we remember we got food in our belly, we got a place to live, we got as much entertainment, as much information, as much kind of that connection than anyone in history of mankind has ever seen. May we just thank you for your abundance, but always be grateful to you. And we pray in Jesus' name, amen. Dip really means leaving? When that? I gotta ask. What? That's no, I never heard that. Pulverizer, is that true? I gotta take my family. Does dip mean in current vernacular? So remember, I got 4 kids. They'll know. Vernacular. All right, see what they say. Dude, if Celtic spirit means, if Celtic spirit is, I think he's even older than me, if memory serves. If he's talking in that vernacular of dip, then Celtic spirit has gone G-H-E-Y. G-H-E-Y. Rainbow Coalition for Celtic Spirit. All right, my wife's texting. Yeah, she says leave. How the hell did you know that? I thought he meant dip in the market. I thought he meant tobacco. I didn't text my wife. She said leave too. My wife knew that. Oh my goodness. Has my wife gone G-H-E-Y then? Is she on the Rainbow Coalition? Boy. All right, so one more time for good times. There he is, pushing up daisies. All right, I'm going to get out of here, my friends, and watch a little bit of hockey game. I asked my wife how she knew that, and she says, my other boyfriend told me. I mean, I learned it in school. I've heard people say it. Okay. Weird. All right. And my wife, she got mad at me yesterday. We changed our cell phone providers, and I did it without telling everybody that their phones would turn off, and she was not happy with her old buddy Josh. Not happy. Anyway, all right, I'm out of here. See, I know you and I, Penelope, are boomers apparently. All right, God bless. We'll see you guys. And if you want to get this book, get it right there. You'll have a great time reading. It's a great book to read, and you'll sit there and say, "Damn, I'm never complaining again." All right, God bless. We'll see you.